This weekend, nonstop air service between Myrtle Beach and Toronto begins, and then next week is the annual Can-Am Days Festival on the Grand Strand. News 13's Rusty Ray took a late-night flight last night to Toronto. He joins us live now from Ontario with more on the relationship between our two countries. Rusty.
Good evening, Bob. Governor Nikki Haley and other state leaders will make the trip here to Canada in a few weeks to try to lure more Canadian businesses to invest in the Palmetto State. Now, TD Bank is one of the Canadian companies that has already established connections in South Carolina in recent years. The T in TD stands for Toronto. In addition to branches now in many communities, including a branch in Myrtle Beach, TD Bank, headquartered in Toronto, has set up hubs in Lexington and Greenville. Company officials say the tax incentives, along with South Carolina's status as a right-to-work state, are only part of the reason they and so many other Canadian companies have set up there.
You know, as far as location-wise, this was a perfect place to set it up, along with, you know, all the benefits that come with it, the beautiful coast, the mountains, the tax incentives. You know, it's just it's a great place to want to have a company.
Governor Haley has taken similar economic development trips before to places like Europe. She and her delegation will make stops here in Toronto and then in the national capital of Ottawa, and then they'll wrap up the 3 or 4 day trip with a stop in Montreal. Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce officials say the chamber spent about $1 million in advertising just in Canada in 2013, and chamber officials say 100,000 Canadians visited the Grand Strand last year. I found a man here in Toronto who visits the Grand Strand more than once every year. One thing Toronto Sun deputy editor Kevin Hand loves to write about is Myrtle Beach. He, like many of his fellow Torontans, often is looking for a change of scenery from the snow, the skyscrapers, and the crowds of early March.
The popular thinking is that you can be on a flight in the morning, you know, you can be in Myrtle Beach at noon and you're on the golf course at 1 o'clock.
Golf first brought Hand to the Grand Strand in 1989, just weeks after Hurricane Hugo.
It was interesting that the roads were still being protected by soldiers, a lot of military still there, I guess to prevent looting. The courses, though, were in good shape. You know, the odd tree down here and there, but the courses were fine.
They've been in good shape every time his group has come to play every year since. About 10 years ago, Hand began driving his family down for a summer vacation every year, too.
I think you see a lot more families heading down there. You could spend some time on TripAdvisor and see how many people, you know, are on there looking for directions, looking for places to stay, places to eat.
Places to get away from the city and the cold weather.
You know, even when the dollar, you know, the Canadian dollar is down a bit like it is now at maybe 90 cents, it's still an affordable vacation to go to Myrtle Beach.
And Hand says for him, the Grand Strand is now almost like a second home.
You know, we've watched our kids grow up over the years there, you know, from the, you know, going to kids attractions to doing some of the more adult you know, things that you can do there now.
Bob, it's plenty chilly here in the teens when we started out this morning, but folks tell me not nearly as nasty as it was just a few days ago. There is snow on the ground here and this weekend, we're going to see the sights here in Toronto and bring those stories back for you for next week on News 13 to maybe show folks what they can enjoy if they take the flight like we did and leave South Carolina and come to Canada for vacation. Bob, that flight, not too bad. It was only 90 minutes from takeoff to landing here in Toronto. We're live in Canada. Rusty Ray, News 13.
Yeah, not all that much colder up there either than it is here, Rusty. Have a good weekend. Still to come tonight on this